What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. I got a couple hats in the mail that somebody requested that I wash for them, and there's actually some really cool hats in here. So I'm going to show you what they are, and then I'm going to show you the whole process that it takes for me to fully restore vintage hats. That is from the wash, the steam, and reshape all the way to the end. So make sure to stay tuned. This is going to be a pretty cool video. These are the hats right here. I don't remember how many there are. I could be 8 to 10, but there's some really cool ones in here. So I'm going to start by showing you what we got in here. First off is this Indianapolis Colts. This one's not in too bad a condition, but definitely got to clean up that inside sweatband and give it a nicer shape, get some of those big creases out. Next up, the person who sent these to me had some concern about washing corduroy hats, and I'm going to make sure that I get them right. There's definitely some staining on that under brim, which we'll take care of, and then just some marks throughout the hat. But this one's a really cool hat. Colorado Buffaloes with the Grateful Dead bears on the sides. This one, this company right here, I've never heard of that. So definitely a unique one. Next up is a NBA 50th anniversary hat. It's got the Grateful Dead bear on the side, and then that Grateful Dead Lithuania basketball patch on that side. Not super dirty, but gonna make sure this one's in better condition than it is now. And then last for this box is the Top Gun Pepsi hat. The brim's pretty wonky on this, so we're gonna fix that. And then again, he wanted to make sure that the corduroy was washed the right way, so I'm going to show you how that's done. Now getting into the second box, this is 2 of 2, and these ones are really cool. So packaged pretty nicely, and then he did throw in some of these sweatband protectors. I'm not sure if he wanted me to put those on the hat for him. This one right here, another Indianapolis Colts splash. The other one was this black and white one. So the two color variants. Let me know below which one you think is better. I kind of like this one, even though I like black, blue, and white because the school colors, but this gray one is really cool. It's got a nice shape because it's got the cardboard on the inside, but we're going to put that aside so you can't wash it with that in there. It's got some stains around the sides. Yep, there it is. You can see, and then all around is a little dirty, so this one we're gonna get right. And then there's 3 more here. This one's definitely my favorite of the bunch. Purple, as you can tell, is my favorite color from the premium logos, and this one, I think this would be really cool to make a premium 32 custom with. And then this one came with replacement snaps. He sent them, so I'm gonna stitch those on. As you can see behind that tape, the snaps are broken. It looks like somebody tried to glue them on, but those are broken, and we will get that all fixed up for him. And then there's a lot of pilling on the inside, which I can easily take out, and then this one will be back to new. Last 3 here, we've got a Green Bay Packers splash, an Indiana Pacers shark tooth, which is really cool. Not too dirty, but we'll do a little work on that. And then last but not least, another Pacers, the Pacers plain logo with the Indiana funky script on the back. Not sure what you call that. And this one's a G-cap. Love that brand. So that's all it is. I believe that is 9. So I was right in that 8 to 10 range. So 9 hats. Let's give them a wash and then take it from there. So these are the only 2 tools you're going to need. There's a soft bristled Vans brush that I use to scrub the hat, and then the toothbrush is used to mix in all the detergent and the OxiClean from the bottom so it doesn't clump up. And then fill the bucket up with water, add the detergent, OxiClean. I use Blue Dawn dish soap and OxiClean powder, and then always use gloves when you're dealing with OxiClean because you don't want to get that on your hands. The first hat that I'm going to be washing is the Indianapolis Ice hat. As you can tell from this lighting, the sweatband is a lot dirtier than initially showed. And then there's some staining on the back and kind of all around. It's going to be a pretty easy wash. I start with an initial dunk and then scrub the hat each panel by panel, going all the way around the hat, making sure everything's covered. And then once I do that, make sure to get the inside sweatband. That is probably the most important part because that's where most of the dirt and grime is. But probably the most important part is to spot treat specific areas because the Dawn and the OxiClean is going to get the hat clean no matter what. But you really using the brush to dig into those areas that need cleaning the most. The last step is to rinse the hat off and get all of that excess soap out of the hat and then bring it over to the drying rack. For these next hats, I replicate the same exact process of cleaning each panel and then the inside sweatband and then going over it once again and then finally washing it off and rinsing that soap out with water. So I'm just going to speed through the rest of these. As I mentioned previously, washing corduroy is a little bit different, with the main difference being more gentle with the hat because a lot of times the cardboard on the inside is a lot more fragile and the dyes come out a lot easier. So you really want to be careful about that. As you could see for this one, the blue dye from the hat is starting to leak a little bit. So that made me super careful with the hat. I didn't really soak it anymore past this, and I just kind of spot treated the areas that need to be washed the most. And I was really careful with the brim because if you bend it too much when it's wet, you can permanently damage it. So I was really delicate with that and with the material in general. All right, now that the wash and drying is all done, it's time to replace the snaps on this purple ice hat and then get these things all steamed up and reshaped because they came out really nice from the wash, and I'm looking forward to how these are going to turn out after the reshape. A lot of times these snap replacements are super easy, especially since the owner of the hat sent the replacement with it, so I didn't have to order anything special. But since the hat is two-toned, I needed 2 different colors of thread. Luckily, I had both the purple that matched the hat and white, so I didn't have to go out and order any extra. I made sure to really anchor down that snap as it passes the pull test. After that side, I switched up the thread to the white color and got the other side done, and it ended up looking really great. Looks just like the original snaps. All right, so cutting a couple days ahead, I was able to get all the hats reshaped, gave them a whole steaming process and everything. I actually, the steamer that I have broke. I don't know what happened, but we still managed to get the thing to work and get all these hats shaped up in the best condition possible. We've got the hats right here, and I'm going to show you how they ended up, sort of one by one. Really pumped about how these turned out, and let me know below what you think of the final product. So first things first, I'm going to start with the 2 hats that were the most difficult to clean because they are corduroy and a more fragile material, but I made sure that corduroy was maintained that soft feel. And then also a lot of corduroy hats are dyed, so the material washes away a little bit when you wash them. I did notice that right when I put this in, I was really gentle with it so that to kind of test to see if the colors would bleed. And this one was definitely a bleeder. So only gave it a light wash and spot treated it where it needed. If you remember, there was a couple spots in the brim, and then also sometimes the brims are extra flimsy on these, so when they're wet, you can permanently damage them very easily, but no damage on this one. I made sure to dry it in the perfect curved shape that it was, and then the inside really clean, and I love the shape on the outside, how it turned out. And then the second one, the Top Gun Pepsi, again, great shape. This one, again, the brims are super fragile, but made sure that those ended up great. The inside, very clean. And the next we have the splashes. All of them were pretty fun to clean. The one that I had the trickiest time with was this Indianapolis Ice, which is my favorite of the bunch. I maybe besides that blue corduroy, but the purple, black, and white combo is awesome. The shape turned out really nice. And then, as you remember from earlier, I did have to replace the snaps on these, and that's what kind of took a little bit because the needle on my sewing machine broke, so I had to order that. But they ended up coming out super nice, and it's nice and strong. Nothing's gonna come undone there, and the stitching blends in perfectly. So it turned out really great. Some of these had some staining on them, but got most or all of that out. And then these 2, which didn't have the best shape at all, are right back into a good wearing condition, both on the inside and the sweatband and on the outside. Some of these had a lot of pilling, which was on that inside sweatband, on a sweater when they get the little fuzzies on the inside. But I took my thread trimmer on all of these and made sure that they got rid of all of that so they look even better. And then there were 3 left. One of them being the Indiana Pacers. This one I was also pretty concerned about for color bleeding because these twill shark tooths are notorious for, especially with like the darker colors, bleeding right around like the tips of the shark teeth or shark tooths, whatever you want to say. People refer to those as both, grammatically incorrect or not. When I was washing these, I made sure to pat them dry right away because I noticed the longer that they're wet, the more likely it is to bleed in color. And then also, if you wash in hot water, they also are more likely to bleed. So cold water and dry them right away and you should be fine. But this one turned out great, even on the inside. And then these last 2, the Indiana Pacers, this one was in kind of rough condition and more of a yellow tint to it. But now it is like a little off-white cream color. Looks beautiful. No issues on the inside. Lastly, I don't know how this, I've never seen anything like this. As I mentioned, this Lithuania basketball 50th anniversary with the Grateful Dead Bears. But nice and clean on the inside and a nice shape. So all of these came out better than I could have expected. It took a little longer because I had finals, graduation, and we're still in the NCAA tournament for lacrosse. It did take a little bit, but I did not want to rush through it, and I wanted to take my time. And then these are going to be sent right back to the owner where they can be enjoyed. So that does it for this restoration video. Make sure to comment below, let me know how I did, and then make sure to like, subscribe, and follow on Instagram for more hats